Hi, everybody. So I got this request, I think it was a week or two ago, from a viewer, and I thought, yeah, this is an excellent topic for right now. Crystal support for tax time, because we weren't dealing with enough already. We've also got. We're in, here at least in North America. I don't know about other countries in the world, but at least here, we are in tax filing time. And, for some people, that's a really easy and wonderful experience of receiving, a tax refund. But certainly for entrepreneurs, for business people, for, solopreneurs and healers and everyone else, small businesses, to use the pun that this is a taxing time, it certainly can be the case for many people, as well as for the accountants. I had a couple of corporate accountants as clients back when I was working in New York City, and tax filing season, I think, starts for them in terms of corporate tax, beginning of the year and whatever. And it's just a crazy intense time. But certainly for those of us who are sensitive, who are empathic, who are already, coping with like such an enormous waves of energy constantly coming at us, and dealing with our own stuff internally, and then having to flip into that very sort of, left brain kind of logical thinking in terms of, doing this kind of work can be challenging. For people who have wounding or fear around money, it can be challenging. So it's just, another thing that we're coping with right now. And so I wanted to make some suggestions in terms of crystals that can be helpful for you, not just in terms of, kind of getting into that wavelength, that frequency, coming into alignment with the paperwork, the numbers, etc., but also for any of you who may have emotions that come up around this time of year. And certainly for myself, for years, tax filing time was always drama. I had a lot of wounding around money, authority, numbers, my own income, I was a mess, and it took me a while, healing work and everything else, to get through it, get organized, and become more centered and empowered with this whole issue. So I get it. So here we go. These are the crystals that I've picked out that I feel will be helpful, that I was guided to pick out. And I'll talk about each one, but blue sapphire, blue kyanite, Sodalite, Rhodochrosite, and Shungite. So starting with the first crystal, blue sapphire. Blue sapphire is very Saturnine in its energy and its energy quality and properties. So think logic, think structure, organization, constraint, containment. And it really, really also helps with feelings of mental overwhelm. It helps you to just stay focused on the task, which in this case is tax, but staying focused on the task, staying mentally organized so that you can also be managing in a really organized and really rather linear fashion, which is what you need. Blue kyanite, again, it comes to, this conversation and this healing work in terms, again, of order, in terms of structure, but also in terms of helping us manage any emotions or any emotional energy that comes up around the work that we're doing. It really helps us, again, to just stay focused, stay centered, and do the work and do it more quickly. Sodalite, it's interesting because I would have thought, my next sort of natural pick from years of doing crystal healing work and whatever, I would have picked fluorite. That's what I would have, and I'll still suggest it, even though it's not here. But I felt guided to Sodalite. And what's interesting is Sodalite's starting to move into that healing conversation, looking at our patterns, our habits, our behaviors, cycles of patterns and behavior. Because certainly right now with the strife that has been created for many, not all, but for many, in terms of economic shutdowns and everything else, some people, some of us are having to look really hardcore at our relationship to money, to finances, to how we've managed things or not. Any wounding or shadow aspects that may be coming up around that. So it's very therapeutic in terms of that, as well as being, the teacher stone, the student stone, the learning stone. There may be some things that some people are having to do themselves this year because they can't get to the bookkeeper, get to the tax person, or everything's being done online now, and maybe they're not used to that, whatever it might be. So for those of you for whom this resonates, I guess that's why I was guided to pick this one. Going deeper into the healing conversation is Rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite is, I think I've got videos already on how to work with Rhodochrosite. I wonder if I've done a channeling. I should do a channeling at some point. Deep healing stone, emotional healing stone, heart healing stone. But the nice thing about Rhodochrosite is its energy doesn't manifest or affect us in ways that some crystals, like let's say malachite, do, or black obsidian, where it just brings like a whole bunch of stuff up, a whole kettle of fish right away, really rapidly, that you have to deal with. It's kind of like pulling an emotional tooth, so to speak. Rhodochrosite is more gentle. It's more process oriented. It gets you deeper into the healing work you need to do while providing loving, supportive energy. So again, for anyone out there who, maybe you're freaking out right now, maybe you're really upset, maybe you've got a lot of wounding and emotions that are coming up in terms of this time, and you may not. Some of you might be watching this and being like, what's the big deal? It's just numbers. But we all have our things. We all have our layers of the onion that we need to peel, and this is certainly one that comes up for people around this time of year, and of course it's already challenging. So if you find that you've got a lot of emotional energy and wounding coming up in response to having to get your paperwork together, your numbers together, your bookkeeping, filing your taxes, etc., even if there's also resentment and anger in terms of having to do that, the blue kyanite will certainly help with that as well. Working with Rhodochrosite and working through some of that can be very therapeutic and very beneficial. And then finally, Shungite. And an alternative to Shungite would be black tourmaline, specifically in terms of this work that I'm talking about right now. But Shungite helps to clear a lot of that off. So any angst you're feeling, basically any lower frequency feelings, that you're having around taxes, around finances, around money, all of that starts to build up in your energy system, builds up in your aura. It can even start to create a thought form. So working with Shungite to help clear that energy off, to help bring you back into a place of grounded centeredness. As I said, black tourmaline is a great alternative for that as well, in terms of helping us cope with that, so that you're not just staying mired in the energy all the time, even as you're doing the healing work that you need to do, and doing, the practical work, logical work that you need to be doing. You can also, either during or after it, work with Shungite to then help release and clear off that energy, so you're not, carrying that around with you everywhere you go. So that's crystal healing support for tax time. I hope that it is of service to you, and sending you all big love out there. Hang in there. We're going to keep going.